Hi, my name's Gareth and I live in Abertawe in Swansea. And for 38 years, I was a school teacher. I was working mainly in primary schools, but then for the last 13 years, I was looking after blind and visually impaired pupils and young people across the city and the county of Swansea. It was a great job. And then for the last 10 years, I've also been working with Christian Vision for Men, a ministry which aims to introduce men to Jesus Christ so that they become followers of Jesus Christ. Now, I was born in a Christian home, and in the bedroom that we lived in, we had a painting by Holman Hunt, a famous artist. The painting is called Jesus, the Light of the World, and it pictures Jesus knocking on the heart's door. It's from a verse in Revelation 3 verse 20, where it says, "Behold, here I am. I stand at the door and knock. And if anybody hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and I will eat with them and they with me." And at the age of 5, I remember kneeling down at the side of my bed and praying with my mum that Jesus would come into my life, come through the door of my life and come into my heart, come into my life, and he would lead me as my Saviour and as my Lord. And I did that as a child when I was 5 years of age. Now, some 60 years later, I can look back upon the way that he has led me. And if you were to ask me, what's the difference that Jesus has made in your life? When you look across at the way the world is going and even the people around us, what is the difference that Jesus makes in your life? I would say perhaps the biggest difference is that knowing that God is my Father and that Jesus is my friend, he's my Lord, he's my Saviour, he's my shepherd, he's looking after me. You know, in all the trials and the problems of life, I know that he is there beside me. And when I gave my life to Jesus, he gave me a promise. And he said, "I will never leave you nor forsake you. I'll always be with you." And you know, as I look back, I can't say I've been a drug addict, a criminal, a wild young person. But the difference it's made is that I know that he has led me through all the ups and downs, the trials, the problems, the good times, the bad times. He has always been there, a faithful guide, a faithful friend. And you know, you too could know this person in your life as your leader, as your guide, as your friend. If you ask Jesus to come into your heart, he promises to never leave you, never to forsake you. So whatever trials you go through, he is there with you all the time. And you know, I can even face death with no fear because my Jesus has been there. He's conquered it and he's come back. So even death is a win-win situation. I cannot lose. You cannot lose if you give your life to Jesus. Let me finish by just reading a hymn that you probably will know, but it means an awful lot to me, and it sums up for me one of the big differences that Jesus makes in my life. And it was written by a lady who was blind, Fanny Crosby. She was blind, but she could write these words about the leading of her Saviour. It says, "All the way my Saviour leads me. What have I to ask beside? Can I doubt his tender mercy, who through life has been my guide? Heavenly peace, divinest comfort, here by faith in him to dwell. For I know, whate'er befall me, Jesus doeth all things well. All the way my Saviour leads me, cheers each winding path I tread, gives me grace for every trial, feeds me with the living bread. Though my weary steps may falter, and my soul athirst may be, gushing from the rock before me, lo, a spring of joy I see. All the way my Saviour leads me, oh, the fullness of his love. Perfect rest to me is promised in my Father's house above. When my spirit, clothed immortal, wings its flight to realms of day, this my song through endless ages, Jesus led me all the way. And that's my song. That's my story too. Diolch yn fawr.